A group of 20 people surrounds Marlene Herrera out in a yard. They're mostly social distancing. The crowd is singing, urging her to not lose momentum.
It's been over 2 months. So I was like, oh my God, I get to see you again. I get to hug you. And I was like, are you okay with hugging?
Marlene is celebrating her 18th birthday and her high school graduation. They both fell on the same week that San Diego County began to relax its coronavirus restrictions on gatherings. She's just happy to finally have everyone in one place again. Finally, the piñata breaks. Marlene tells me she's had a lot of frustration to work through over the past few months. First, the pandemic hit, and then she had to complete her senior year from home. During that time, she's been living in a crowded house with 5 kids under the age of 9. Marlene says, in this new reality, she and many of her friends feel powerless.
A lot of us, we kind of got to the point where we burst into tears.
Marlene has been thinking a lot about mental health, and in college this fall, she plans to major in psychology. The mental health impacts of the coronavirus pandemic, especially on young adults, will be felt for years to come, says Tina Casola. She's a San Diego-based family therapist who specializes in trauma and the long-term impacts of stress.
We're going to be paying for this for a long time because the betrayals or the feelings of being left behind, those are going to last for people.
Casola thinks that while Marlene's age group is far more supportive of one another than previous generations, it's going to be up to older people to model how to get through this.
We have to figure out ways of getting out into our communities and giving them support to work through this time, even though none of us have the answer, right? We don't have a blueprint for this. We're going to kind of make it up as we go, but they need to benefit from the seasoning that some of us have had in order to kind of put these things together and then be able to take care of themselves.
The pandemic and its mental toll are not the only thing on Marlene's mind. She's grown up always worried about her family's finances. It was a huge relief when her mother received a stimulus check.
I think that was, amazing, especially, it's a big family here.
Marlene's mother had been briefly laid off from working at a law office, but she was rehired after her office got a government loan. Still, Marlene wishes more had been done during the stay-at-home order to prepare for reopening businesses safely.
For us, we can't afford to not work. We still got to pay rent. That's not going to stop. Right. You still got to pay for food, and that's not going to stop. It adds up. So it's kind of hard when people are like, oh, just stay home. And it's like, you can't do that. I don't want to come home and, be the one who infects my family for some reason,
The government's response, or lack of response, has Marlene thinking about how politics directly impact her life. After her first choice for president, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, dropped out of the race in April, she was undecided on who she'd support in the general election.
If I could vote and for some way it could count for something, and I'm hoping it counts for something, I'm going to do it.
More recently, she says the protests over the killing of George Floyd and other acts of police violence against black men and women have had an impact.
I think I'm leaning towards Biden. Not that I'm entirely happy with him either.
To her, President Donald Trump crossed a line when he sent in the National Guard during the Black Lives Matter protests.
You're just adding more fire. You're adding more fire to fire. And how is that okay? I think we need a change. As much as people want to say, Trump is good, but it's I think it's time for someone new. You can't still be living in that time where it's kind of what is he going to say? What is he going to trigger? We've had so many scares with him.
Marlene says she's ready for a government that doesn't scapegoat or target minority groups.
It's not even just talking from a Mexican point of view, just a person of color point of view. There's so much oppression that we've had, and you see it, and, we're seeing it a lot right now. I just want a government that I don't feel like is working against me.
Looking ahead to a long summer of helping take care of her cousins and trying to safely see friends when she can, I asked her what she would change about this year if she had a magic wand.
I want to be selfish with this question.
Be selfish.
My senior year, because I worked, or not even just me, everyone worked so hard for 12 years straight of our, whole lives in school, only for it to kind of be everything a lot of us were looking forward to, we weren't allowed to do it.
Marlene says this will forever mark her generation.
It's still always going to be something that we have where it's we didn't get a grad night. That's just, my whole thing that's always going to stay with me. It's always going to be on my mind. It's always like, even when I tell my kids later on, if I have kids, they're gonna ask like, hey, like, how was your prom? Well, I never had one. I'm sorry, can't help you with that.
Max Rivlin-Nadler, KPBS News.